I've been a bike commuter for years, but until today, I've never done a big, long, big bike adventure. Well, actually, yesterday. I just completed my first one, and I'm going to share the entire experience from anxiety to accomplishment in hopes that hearing about my experience will help you if you've ever thought of leveling up your bike adventures. Hey everybody, I'm Tom, and this is Shifter, a channel that is usually about bike commuting and urban cycling. Please consider subscribing, becoming a Shifter member, or checking out my digital course on how to bike commute. The links are down below. Let's start way back in the beginning. So I've been thinking about doing a bigger bike adventure for years, but I never really knew where to start or how to get going. But then I stumbled across this event hosted by the Cascade Bicycle Club every year called RSVP, the Ride from Seattle to Vancouver and Party. It's about 180 miles or 300 kilometers over 2 days, and it usually attracts about 1,500 people. I've done longer bike rides before, but nothing close to this length. I mean, I'm a bike commuter, so I'm in bike commuter shape, so my fitness is okay, but it's not great. I'm definitely not an endurance athlete by any stretch. And so this seemed like the perfect kind of event that would challenge me while also being supportive. Also, as a Canadian at a time of increased political tension between Canada and the US, this struck me as exactly the kind of thing we should be doing more of, trying to connect people across that border. And we all know bicycles are just magic at bringing people together. So that all felt really good. And then I mentioned it to my friends at Priority Bicycles. They've been a great supporter of this channel for the last couple of years, and I've been riding their commuter bikes for much longer than that. And when I mentioned this event to them, they got excited and said they wanted to come too. Now I really couldn't flop and totally embarrass myself. So I built up a bit of a training plan, which lasted less than a week before I fell off of it because of a lack of time. And I ended up going for just a handful of long weekend rides as part of preparing for this event. I mean, sticking to that plan definitely would have helped my confidence heading into this event, but before I knew it, I was at the airport heading towards Seattle. Wait until you see what Connor, one of the founders of Priority, had waiting for me when I arrived in Seattle.
So we have our Priority Gemini. It is a gravel touring bike. You'll find that it's got the pinion, smart shift gearbox, and then the Gates belt drive really at the core of it. We're here in Seattle. It's super hilly. You need a big gear range, but then also as you push the limits of your ability, as we cover nearly 200 miles over the next couple days, you have this really amazing adventure touring platform. So it's really a bicycle that gives you flexibility for day-to-day commuting, weekend adventures, and then even big lifestyle adventures.
So I can't blame the bike if things go badly.
No. It's never the rider or the body. It's always the bike.
So I was almost ready to go. Along with Priority and Cascade Bicycles, we also held a great meet and greet at a pub in Seattle where I met some amazing Shifter fans and members who shared all kinds of tips for the ride and also tips for places to check out in Seattle. And so I have a video coming about cycling in Seattle at a future date. Finally, we woke up early and went to the starting line, and I was a bubbling cauldron of excitement and anticipation.
Tom, how are you feeling as we get this started?
Yeah, I feel good. I thought I'd be I'm a little nervous, but I'm more excited at this point. I'm feeling good. I'm ready to go.
And off we went. The first few hours of the ride were so cool. There are hundreds of miles of rail trails in and around the Seattle area, and we started the day here, which in the crisp morning was just a perfect way to start the day. We had amazing weather both days. The first day was scheduled to be 110 miles or about 180 kilometers, which just seemed like an unfathomably long distance when I started training. So I was being conscious about not pedaling too hard in the early stages because I really needed to pace myself. All right, we're a couple of hours in. I'm feeling great actually right now. There seems to be two approaches. One is the data-driven approach. You've got your computer, you know exactly where you are, how far you've got to go. Then there's a more philosophical approach where it's like, don't think about the numbers, just enjoy the moment and ride. I'm kind of data raw dogging this one anyway because I don't have a computer. So by default, I'm going to take the philosophical approach, but I kind of like that anyway. I'm just going to try to enjoy the moment. One thing that I quickly learned was how valuable it is to have some friends on the ride. Not only is it nice to have somebody to chat with on the quiet stretches, riding in a group is so much easier. I mean, I know because of science class that the amount of work you have to put into pedaling when you're in a group is so much less because of people cutting the wind in front of you, but I was surprised how much easier it felt in this group. And the good news is that it's super easy to make friends on a ride like this. Just ask. Even if you don't have your own group, you will quickly find one that you can be part of. Okay, we're about halfway done. The sun is coming out. It's getting hot. It's been a beautiful morning. The weather could not have been better. Time for a lunch stop.
How's the buffet?
Peanut butter jam pickle is the way to go.
Oh yeah,
The way to go.
yeah, look at this move. I'm doing it too.
Maybe some banana?
I'm gonna warn you guys.
Yeah, you wouldn't think this would work.
No, we just, oh.
It's lovely.
I just thought it was might be over.
So when you get into Canada,
Leading up to this, one of my unexpected stressors was what to wear. Sports can have a lot of gatekeeping and snobbery the deeper you get into it, and when you're new, you don't want to be the person showing up making some horrible athletic wear faux pas on the first day. But you know what I quickly learned on this ride? It doesn't matter. Seriously, nobody cares what you're wearing or what you're riding or what equipment you're using. Everyone's just happy that you're there, and everybody wants everybody to succeed. There are all kinds of people wearing everything from full Lycra racing kit to, gym shorts and sneakers. It really doesn't matter. What ended up working for me were a few things. I wore cycling shoes that clipped into the pedals. Now, normally I don't wear these things on my bike commute because I just hate getting off and clip-clopping through the city. But on a ride of this length, I figured the alleged increase in pedaling efficiency might be worth it, and so I brought this ugly-ass old pair of cycling shoes that I dug out of my drawer. I wore padded Lycra shorts, which I would say is a must for a long ride like this. With that much time in the saddle, you really need to take care of your butt. It's an essential part, maybe the key consideration in preparing for this. Take care of your ass. So I brought a saddle that I had broken in, and I made sure to wear some padded shorts. I wore a light pair of hiking shorts over my Lycra because I like having pockets, and I also don't think anyone needs to see me in Lycra. I also found that I don't like cycling jerseys. I find them too tight, too constricting, too sweaty, too uncomfortable, too unflattering. Luckily, Connor gave me this Osprey cycling shirt, which is definitely a bit looser, made with some lightweight material, with the added bonus of that it looked pretty good. Okay, the good news is I've officially done the longest ride of my life. We're about 3/4 of the way done. The bad news is it's starting to hurt. Still feeling good, still got some energy, but it's just that time of day. But at the very least, I feel like now I'm gonna make it. Nearing the end of the day, 7 hours in the saddle, I had blown way past my longest ride ever, and I was facing 2 big climbs into Bellingham, Washington to finish day 1. I geared down, just put my head down and pedaled slowly and surely, and believe it or not, it worked. I made it. We're in Bellingham, Washington here at the start of day 2. We arrived here last night. There's a bit of a party, which I did not have the energy to take my camera out for, so you just have to trust me on that one. Anyway, the vibes are good this morning. We had a good breakfast. I think Olympians have this for breakfast too, don't they? Yeah. So we're off again. Up before sunrise, muscles sore, creaking out of bed, but I was feeling so good about what happened on day 1 that I rolled right into day 2, headed towards the Canadian border. The border crossing went so smoothly, and I've got to hand it to Cascade Bicycle Club. The organization on this event is really good. A supported, organized ride like this, I think, is a fantastic way to get started on longer rides if you can swing it. They've really got the details nailed down, from transporting your bag between stops to arranging border crossings to feeding you along the way at regular intervals. Let's talk about food. Now, my first few training rides left me feeling totally drained to the point where I was questioning whether I'd ever be able to do a ride this long. But after I started eating more, I realized I just wasn't fueling properly. Now, there are all kinds of weird endurance sports food available these days with weird names like endurance butter or like protein gel, things like that. But I quickly realized that most of these were not for me. One of the great things about an organized ride like this is the fuel stops. I found that my gut and my body reacted best when I stuck to real food and water, but I know some people just love those electrolyte drinks and some of the endurance food, so a little bit of trial and error will help you figure out what works for you. But figure this out before the ride. That's a terrible day to be experimenting. Back in the land of kilometers rather than miles, you might be wondering how the bike itself was holding up. The first few hours on a bike can be a little weird as you get accommodated to it, but it didn't take long for me to feel like I was just riding something that had my back. It's my first time on a gravel bike, and it feels super solid, but also still fast. This pinion gearbox in the belt drive is just working like a dream. I admit I was a bit worried about having a gearbox on a ride like this because I've never used one before, but this pinion gearbox is next level. When you hear about something called gear range on a bike, it refers to the difference between the highest and the lowest gears. You want as big a range as possible if you need to deal with both big hills and fast downhills. The bike I commute on, for example, has a range of about 300%, which is fine for commuting. This one, 600%, that's huge. It took a little bit of adjustment to get used to shifting with that gearbox as compared to, say, a derailleur or internal gears at the back. But with those electronic shifters, they're just so fast and snappy. I was doing it with no problem in no time. And if you hear the words electronic gears and you worry about running out of battery in the middle of a ride and getting stuck unable to shift anymore, well, after 2 8-hour days of riding, I checked my battery and it was still at 97%. All right, rolling into Vancouver felt so good. After 2 days, 190 miles and nearly 300 kilometers through some beautiful scenery, farmland, small towns, suburbs, 2 countries, a whole lot of peanut butter and jam sandwich, I rolled into Vancouver exhausted, sore, and feeling fantastic. I was feeling so good, I couldn't even resist doing the cliched post-ride lift your bike photo under the finish line. Okay, here I am in Vancouver the next day, and it's time for a recap. So my body, I'm feeling very tired. I probably look very tired. Body is sore and a little stiff, but that's all pretty minor. I feel pretty good overall, especially considering I was worried about even getting through this in the first place. And I feel a real sense of accomplishment. I mean, this ride may be nothing to some of you out there, but to me, this was a pretty big deal. I set a goal for myself and I managed to make it work. And I feel proud. I feel like that's a feeling you don't get a lot as you get older. It feels really good. Now to end this video, I want to offer a few final tips for those of you who are thinking about doing this kind of thing. I asked a few people along the way, and here's what they shared.
You should train a little bit, right? Because it's a lot of, you're gonna, depending on how fast you are, you're gonna be sitting on that bike seat for a while. So you don't have to be fast. If you can cover 10 miles an hour, you can absolutely do these rides. So there is no reason, it's not a race, you don't have to be fast.
Pace yourself, don't try to crush it the first couple miles because your legs will totally betray you if you do that.
I say, you definitely train, you gotta train for RSVP, especially the first day with the elevation change stuff.
Fuel up, yeah, eat a lot. You burn calories fast. I say like within the first 2 hours, you pretty much burn all of your stored calories in your bodies.
Those are all great tips. I agree with all of them, but here's a few more from me, from my experience. Yes, the training those people mentioned is absolutely important, but I actually found this the hardest part of this experience for me. And it wasn't the training so much as finding the time for the training. If you've got a busy life and a busy family and a busy career, finding a number of hours in a week or on the weekend to get out there for a long bike ride can be tough. And for me, that was the hardest thing to do. So make sure you account for this in your planning, and make sure the people in your life who care about you and need you are supportive of this as well. And the last point I want to make is about the culture of events like this. I went into this a little bit worried about being the newbie, about sticking out because I didn't know what I was doing. Now looking back, what a waste of time and energy thinking about that stuff. It totally does not matter. Nobody cares what you're wearing, nobody cares what kind of bike you're riding, nobody cares how fit you are. I also found the diversity of the crowd here so inspiring. There were people of all ages, shapes, and experiences. There were grandmas on commuter bikes and tall people on tall bikes and large people on small bikes. There were young and old people, groups with coordinated outfits, and others just making do with whatever they had. Nearly 1,500 people rode what was probably the longest ride of their lives, just like me, and it made me realize that all kinds of people can do this. You don't have to be a super athlete. You don't have to be a certain body type or an age. You probably want to get the best bike you can get your hands on, but all you really need is to be committed to that goal, do a bit of planning, and have a little grit and determination. Get some friends or supporters around you, and I bet you can do this kind of thing too. A big thank you to Cascade Bicycle Club. Huge thanks to the guys at Priority Bikes. That was so much fun to be with you guys. A big thanks to everyone who came out to our meet and greet. It was fantastic to meet some of you in real life, especially all of you Shifter members. And a big thanks to all of you for watching. This is a different kind of video for me, so let me know what you think about this. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you next time.